Right, so we're just putting the alpaca fleece into the washing bag, giving it a thing and just tying it up. All there is to it.
Hello, we're going to wash some alpaca today. We want to have, well, we're on the farm. Before I tell you what you want, we're on the farm, but most of you will be using that modern technology which is called a kitchen sink. We're using a couple of old containers, well, one container cut in half and a manger. Works well for us. So what you want is not too much water, and you want it hand hot. And you can wear gloves, but I keep my gloves off so I can feel the temperature of the water better. And you just need something in there to break the surface tension of the water. We're using Dirty Beastie as it happens. We will get our royalties later. And you just want maybe about 3 squirts, but you could use detergent, you could use hair shampoo, you could use a bit of old soap. I use my kids' Lynx when they've been to stay. I left it in the shower. Just, you don't want a big froth, you just want a softer water. And then we're going to put the alpaca in, and I'll show you what we've done. So we've got one in a laundry bag, which if you're worried about the alpaca all escaping, this is quite a good way of keeping it together. And I've also emptied out just some loose alpaca. Now what you do need to be careful of with loose alpaca, don't put it in too much water, because unlike sheep's wool, it will float away from itself. It's got no lanolin in it. But we'll have a go and see and compare the results when we've finished. So over we go. Do the easy one first. You just put it into the hand hot water and whatever you've chosen to, and you just place it in. So remember the equation: heat plus agitation equals felt. So no agitation, no rubbing. So we'll put the loose in, and it will want to float. And we just press it in under the water, but we're not going to do any agitation. And I'm not going to spread it out across the water, I'm just leaving it there. And then we leave it to soak about 20 minutes or thereabouts. What you need to remember with alpaca is that it doesn't have lanolin, but it is very dusty. So what we want to do is get all the dust out of it. So there we are, we're going to have a coffee. So here we are, we're going to drain out our old soapy water, and we're going to rinse our alpaca. So just for, you can see how this works, we lift it up, we don't leave it in the water to pour the water away, because all the dirt will end up just staying on resting on the alpaca, and the water will go down the drain, and then you've wasted your time. So just a gentle squeeze. You can probably see how dirty this water is coming out of here. That's the downside of the laundry bag, is obviously it holds everything. And I'll show you the other, whoops, I've kicked the bucket. I'll show you the other one. Oh, you'll notice, by the way, I'm in a dairyman's apron, which is very handy. But if you don't have a dairyman's apron, old clothes, any covering that you'd use, and, you know, you don't need your cocktail dress for this malarkey. And I'm putting my hands under it and gathering as much as I can, and you lift it out. Just a gentle squeeze, no rubbing, no agitation. It looks horrible at this point. You'll probably be really scared right now. And you can see the dirty water coming out. I'm just going to put that in the bucket. So you do need a few surfaces. I mean, if I'm at home in the kitchen, I just put it on the draining board, which is probably not the most hygienic thing. You can see it's all escaped, so I'm gathering it together. You will lose some bits. And you can just see the water is it's a bit mucky. It'll get muckier as we rinse it, as all the dust comes out. I have to say, this alpaca comes from a really good alpaca farm. It's beautiful fibre. Sweet Home Alpacas will give you a plug, and they keep their animals beautifully, and it's not as dirty as it can be. But quite often you get offered pet alpaca, which is kept fine. It's not, you know, we're not calling the RSPCA here, but it might have been in a dirtier environment than somebody who's a specialist. So we're going to tip this water out, we're going to renew it with clean hand hot water, and then I'll put the alpacas back in. So we're just going to place this back in. I've taken the knot out of here because my glamorous assistant reminded me we could spread it out in the laundry bag. So I can see it's still dripping, so I'm going to get rid of some of that water. I'm going to lay it in, and I'm just going to have it so that it can move about. You can actually see the dirt coming out there a little bit. And then this other one, plop it in and just push it under the water. And then we leave it for another 20 minutes, and you probably will need to do another rinse, I would think. Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. Well, here we are. We've done 2 rinses in hand hot water. We have lifted out the second time like we did before, and we've put back in, no agitation, and we've got cleaner alpaca. I won't say it's completely clean, but it's much cleaner and more workable, and it won't get dust all over your hands. So I'm just going to show you taking it out and putting it out to dry. And we've got 2 different versions for you, depending on how you're fixed for your arrangements at home. So I'm going to do the laundry bag first. We did spread the fibre out in the laundry bag so that it really spread out within the bag and it wasn't just a little ball. I'm going to gather it up like we did before. Let it drain. You can see there is still some dust in there, but it is much, much cleaner water. And it won't get all over your equipment and all over your hands. It is surprising, even without the lanolin, how dusty your hands can get. And you find your fingers are black when you're spinning it. There we are. So I'm going to just tip this into a bucket because I want to lay my laundry bag out. There we are. And we will go across to our high-tech, super duper, very expensive drying rack. Now obviously at home you'll have whatever you have. I have got a farm rack lying on some cattle crush equipment. So I'm just going to lie it out. Obviously you want to get the air around it as much as possible. I'm going to wring out the alpaca. It will look awful at this point. And I'm going to just spread it out so that as much of the fibre as possible can get the sun. I'm not going to fiddle about with it too much, but I am going to come and turn it later, taking out a little bit of this vegetable matter that we've got there. That can go at this point. I'll just let that dry, let some evaporation happen, and then I'll turn it later on. So we'll go and get the other one. The reason I've put that there is the holes are quite big on here, so we've made a smaller hold section. At home, good things to use are your laundry drying rack if you've got one that opens out flat, or just anything you can configure or construct that will just enable it to dry off. It's quite a nice day here, so we've laid it out in the farmyard, but obviously you might need to dry it indoors. I would avoid very hot sun, direct sunlight, because we don't want the fibres to become brittle or bleached. So let's go and get the other one. The other one out now, and again we scoop it out as gently as we can. I'm gathering, obviously I haven't got this all corralled in a laundry bag. Scooping it out, give it a gentle squeeze. You can see this water's clean. I would say if you dare to float it without a laundry bag, obviously there's a bit more circulation. Pop it in the bucket, we'll just gather these little bits. you will lose some little bits. And quite often the bits that float away are bits that turn out to be not very good for spinning anyway. So we'll take this one over and lay it out as before. Then give it a squeeze. Now obviously what you do have to be careful, if you've got animals at home, and if your animals like crafting, you'll have to keep it away from your animals. So there we are. It does look horrible at this point, but once it's dried, it will start to look a bit more normal. There we are. And that's washing and laying out to dry your alpaca. So here's one we made earlier, as they say. This is a now dry alpaca fleece, and you can see it doesn't look as dreadful as it did. I'm just going to take out a staple to show you. So there we are, it's not felted, that's all ready to be prepared for your spin. Okay, now I do want to have a word about storage. So you need to store this in a breathable container. So we've got some feed bags here. The brilliant thing about these feed bags is they come in 2 layers, so you can put half in that layer and half in that layer, which is really good. Or you can use something like this laundry bag, or anything you've got that will allow the air to circulate, not plastic. And I have to say, you do need to be vigilant because moths love alpaca. Lots of people have lots of remedies for keeping moths from things, and we'll do that on another video.
And we are Harrod and Jean.
And we are Keely Eye Crafts. Follow us on Facebook.